Okay, let's go into our second talk of the day. Um, it's going to be about culture again, and this time about toxic cultures. Um, well, Pablo is a software engineering manager at Plain Concepts, and
Not now, but well, I just joined another company, but it's okay.
okay,
Don't worry.
that's what my notes say.
Sorry,
Um,
I
So,
put
yeah.
it. I put on the slide. Don't worry. I repeat it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, Chris. Well, I don't ask you for sing. At least if the talk will well. If not, if it's a disaster, maybe I could sing or dance or whatever. But today I will talk about toxic culture, how to recognize and how to fix them. My name is Pablo Bouzada. I would engineering manager, but not now in Plain Concept. I'm now in Viaplay Group. You could find me on Twitter on that with my name, Pablo Sang. I just joined it Viaplay 2 weeks ago. That's for the misunderstanding with my company. And maybe I'm still in the honeymoon with the company, but I love all of the company because we define us as international streaming challenger. We know that there are a lot of companies in the market, other big companies, but we want to challenge them. We want to be. We have we have the gravity to challenge them. At Viaplay, we have original content, serious films, documentary, but also we have one of the largest live streaming of sports, and we create a strong relationship with sportsmen all over the world. One of them, maybe you know who is the owner of this helmet. Yeah, yeah, it's Max. I call him Max because we are working for the same company. Then we have some documentary about their life, and well, this is really good one because it's from this year, but we are filming another one for the last World Championship he won. And but maybe other day we'll talk about the relationship with Max. Today I'm here to talk about other topic, toxic cultures and how to recognize it, because it's not easy to recognize a toxic culture if you are inside a company with that bad culture. In the past 20 years, I worked for more than 50 companies, many of them as consultant, and I see a lot of things, a lot of bad things. But let me start talking about the basis of what culture means, because culture is that kind of word that all have in our mind, but we are not sure about what it means. It's pretty common when you look for information for a company. For instance, when I look for a new job, I look for that three statements, the vision, mission, values, the typical ones about that company. The vision, is the company goal. The mission is the plan. A typical one is conquer the world, okay? The mission is how the company plans to achieve that vision, and the values is how we as company behave. This is intuitive thinking to think that the values are the culture of the company, or very related. But let's take it with actual values of my current company. Okay. At Viaplay, and this is the real ones. If you go to viaplaygroup.com, I think we have that in our values page, and we define with that four words: bravery, equality, appreciation, and trust. Okay, bravery because we look beyond short-term goals and have the courage to constantly challenge ourselves and the industry. Yeah, this is something that okay, this could fit with a culture idea. Equality, we embrace diversity and inclusion to fuel our creativity and innovation. Okay, this is pretty good. It's something that maybe is good culture or define good culture for a company. Appreciation, giving and listening real feedback. We nurture the culture where everyone knows that that their voice matters. Then what? If values, but we are talking about culture, maybe it's not the same. It's something a bit different. And the last is the trust. The trust, with mutual respect, we empower people to breed a culture shaped with responsibility, accountability, and possibilities. Other one, other time, culture. Then we could think that values is part of the culture, but no, it's not the whole picture. Because thinking about the anthropological definition, we could say that cultures are the lessons learned in a group that are important enough to transmit to the next generation. This is the typical in a group, a tribu, or whatever. But in a company, we can define a culture as the values, beliefs, and practice that have been developed and reinforced over time. This is really important, and I will base my talk about that, because we could think that a company is a living being, like a tree, okay? And in that living being, you have a part that are visible for everyone, that are the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the part that is over the ground, okay? That part in a company means the organization, strategies, policies, processes, or even the metrics with the company will measure their employees. This is the part that we call the structure. The structure is something that is external. Someone for outside the company could see the policies, could see the strategy, could see the processes, even the metrics. It's visible because yeah, it's there. You could take a document and read the strategy of the company. Okay, and it's relatively easy to change. It's not exactly easy to change, but it's relatively easy because in a big company, sorry, changing processes is really hard. Okay, but there another part. The other part underground in that case, are the roots. Okay, the roots is where the actual culture is the history, the things that happened in that company in the past, what is okay or not okay in the company. What, independently of the policies or independently of the processes, there are things that are okay or are not okay. Okay, and there is something that passed from one employee to another. It's not something that is writing in something that it's something on writing that defines what is okay or not. There are also the informal leaderships. You have an organization, a hierarchy, but we have also the hidden leaders of the company that have that extra voice or voice that is stronger than others, and so on. We have here also relationships between persons, but also relationship between departments, between groups, between roles. And the most important of here is what is rewarded. What is rewarded in a company is that mark the point on what is okay, what is not okay, on what is the thing that you could be promoted, or you could get a bonus, or you could be, look better than others with your behavior. Okay, that is the actual culture. The actual culture, because it's something that It's internal. Only the people in the company knows that. It's invisible because outside the company, no one knows exactly what that culture means, and it's really, really hard to change. This is something that we talk about today. When you have a good culture, safe, strong culture, you have something else. You have something that is even better than the tree. You could go better, you could go forward with that. But if you have a toxic culture, a bad culture, if it's poisoned in its roots, then yeah, maybe in the short term you could have good numbers, because I know a lot of companies with bad culture but good numbers, but you have other pains, okay? And that pains is something that, as Phil Cook say, is the culture becomes more important than vision, because if some leaders could create or could define a great vision of what the company want to create. But if you have a toxic culture, that vision will never happen, because people are struggling with the toxicity of the company. It's not working on the product, it's working with all the pains that the culture provokes, okay? As I said, the culture part is invisible. Then it's hard to understand, hard, you are not able to touch the culture. You are not able to read the culture. It's something that is underneath. Then you have to find ways to identify a toxic culture. And Brigitte Heising, I don't know if I pronounce it well, Brigitte Heising described some smells that identified a bad or toxic culture. The first one is that the core values don't serve at the basis of how the organization functions. There are a gap between that values that in some cases are pure marketing or corporate bullshit, and the real structure or the real behavior in the organization. The second one that Brigitte identifies are that the employee suggestions are discarded. There are no real feedback or honest feedback in the organization. Then people are afraid to give that feedback because there are a lot of micromanaging that reduce the autonomy of the person, the employees, in performing the jobs. And when someone don't do the things well or do the things wrong, then the response of the organization is blaming and punishment. And the last one is also that there is little or strained interaction between the employees and the top management, because the top management is the ones that only the one only that take decisions, and the other is only some kind of executors of that decisions. Brigitte also say that while toxic culture are the result of many factors, not only that 5, but a lot of them, it's generally a combination of poor leadership and individuals who perpetuate the culture. Because the ones that feel fine in a toxic culture are the ones that create that toxic culture. Then, or the ones that get a clear benefit of staying in that culture, or retain the things in the status quo that is good for them. But the toxic culture have consequence, and the consequence, the main one, is that you have high turnover in your employees. Recently, just before I joined Viaplay months ago, a manager of a company where I work as consultant said me that we here have good environment because people that are here don't want to leave. People are here from 20 years, 25 years, and so on. And I say, okay, it's a good culture, but with the newcomers, how are your turnover? Oh, uh, we have a lot of turnover because people here, when come now from another culture, see our culture and then want to leave. And well, I think that it's not a good environment for one, for a company when you have a high turnover. The norm in a healthy organization at the first people that comes to the company are the first that come to the company are when a lot of time sorry the persons that have they're in the company for a long time, then maybe their motivation change and want new things to do and leave the company when they think that they have another opportunities. But in a toxic company are the first that leave the company at the last that come. It's something like the last in, first out. Okay. Other consequences, there are a lot of favoritism and office politics. There are only a few persons in the company that have a voice enough or a strong voice to make decisions. That produce also that there are a lack of innovation because if a leader is not hearing what people are saying, then maybe eventually will be surrounded by people who have nothing to do or have nothing to say. Because if all the opinions of the decision are making but are reduced a short bunch of people, the other people are not thinking for themselves. That kind of toxic culture have also aggressive of violent behaviors against those who challenge the status quo. Because if you are fine with that culture, you don't want that anyone challenge you. I don't want that anyone to change things. And a consequence of toxic culture as in the industry, in the sector, everyone knows that that company has a bad reputation about that and no one wants to join it. And also, maybe with that aggressive behavior and so on, you could maybe have legal issues also with your employees. We know now what a toxic culture seems, but how can we change it? How are the steps that could do for change a toxic culture? It's not something that means that you need authority or at least leadership to do, because it's not something that you could push. You could push from the bottom of the company. Maybe you could be in a middle top management to do that. It's something really hard to do from the bottom of a company. But maybe you could propose and then create some kind of idea of spark to start with that. How to change a toxic culture? The first of all, understand the actual culture of the company. Sometimes when a company tries to figure out how to change something, change from the idea of, okay, is something wrong in our company with our culture. We have a lot of rotation. Let's change something and try to improve our culture. But the ones that are involved in that are the same that create the old culture, and then you have that kind of, okay, this is a circle. You are creating the same culture again and again and again with maybe different names or changing for, okay, we want to be more agile, or we want to be customer focused, or DevOps, that DevOps mindset and so on, but you are doing again the same because the underneath culture are there. You are not changing anything. Other thing you have to do to change a toxic culture is apologize, because a lot of people suffer the lack of good management. You have to apologize, stop, apologize, and define a plan, present a plan to change. Because if not, the people are okay. We're changing thing again, and with the same people leading in, with the same people and the top management and so on, we don't change anything. And the hardest part is create reset the culture collaboratively. Because if you are doing from the top management, you are not getting the real feeling of the person. You need to create at least a group of people, a group of diverse people to get different point of view of that. For reset, the culture, you need to, the first of one, create a psychological safe place. If you don't break that kind of dangerous, if psychologically danger place, you will never get real feedback. You don't learn from your bad decisions. You don't stop bad behaviors. You have to, the first of one is create a psychological safety place in where people could help you to create the culture. And in the second stage, you could set that culture, reinforce it with actions, and review time to time, because you have to start with something. Sometimes when companies start to try to change the culture, stuck with the, okay, we have not the complete culture definition. We have not the exact behaviors that we want. We have not the specific definition of the processes, but in culture, you have to follow that rule, that good enough for now, safe enough to try. It's something that you could try now and improve in the future, okay? Step three. Don't ignore alarm signs. When you have that KPIs of employee turnover, absenteeism, bad interaction between employees and top management and so on, you could check if your culture is turning back to the old one or really improving. And the bad one, as Winston Churchill said, about a country, but a company that forgot its past has no future, because it's again doing the same. Okay. And the last step is stop bad behaviors as well you detect it, because the culture of an organization is shaped by the worst behavior that top management allow. This is something that why change company culture is really hard. I think I lost a really hard. Okay, because it's something that you have to change the behavior of a lot of people that are very comfortable with the ways in the company is working on. Okay, I have a tip and a final story, because I think I have only 4 minutes. The tip is, as Craig Larman say, look for that Larman law, because it's really interesting, the organizational behavior law, about the changing culture organization. But he said that in large organization, the culture follows the structure, because big organizations have that mindset of follow the processes, and the processes mark the line to behave. But in teeny young organizations like startups with few people and so on, the structure follows the culture. When you found something that is wrong in your culture, you could change that before to change the structure, because maybe it's easier to say, okay, we are not diverse enough. We need someone from, not a white male over the 40s to take all the decisions, or we need someone that is different from me or different from the founders to take some decision or to validate that decisions are good for all the company, not only for the ones that are working in that structural culture definition. And for the last 2 minutes, okay. That's it's a lot of pressure with that. A breath of hope. A breath of hope. I say that changing culture is really, really hard, but when you think about that hardness of changing something, think about that couple. They are Sebastião and Leila. It's a Brazilian couple that in late 90s they bought this land in Brazil. Okay, you see that is it's a majet. It's the forest. It's not. It's only a few trees, a couple of or 4 or 5 little houses, and no more. Then, they bought this land in 2001, and many years after planting tree by tree, 2 million of trees, not only both, but with some volunteers, they plant 2 million of trees and creating and preserve this wildlife area that not only create that, okay, you could look, it's a pretty good land, but also they create an entire ecosystem that was rebuilt from scratch. And that allowed that 162 species of birds come back to the land, 33 types of mammals, 15 species of amphibians and reptiles come back and create a new ecosystem from the scratch. And when you think that changing something is hard, think about them. They are now Sebastião and Leila. Because when you change the culture of a company, you are not working only for the present. You are working for the future of the company. And that's all. I think I have some question. Yeah. I have time for that. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't believe you can change a toxic company. Did you try this before? How it went? I tried. Don't went very well, but I put the seed for create that something like Fabian said. I put the seed to the plant of tomatoes will grow, and as I said, maybe I have to plant 2 million more of tomato plants, but it is working. How do you measure success? Okay, how to measure the success of the culture transformation is really hard, but with the feeling of the with the feeling of the person, with taking one-to-ones, surveys, and that kind of asking people, talk with the people of the company, and getting the feeling of how they feel. I think it's the best measure that you could, the best metric that you could have. Maybe we're talking about perspective. There is in the positive discrimination into bad culture. Positive discrimination. Well, this is yeah, it's something to talk in the open space, I think. How to spot toxic culture earlier? What percent read the flags and you need to watch? Okay, the last one is something that I said is you are not touching the culture. Then you have to move for your intuition, for the smells, for the that kind of. Okay, I think a lot of turnover. I want to know what causes that, because it's not maybe it's not by the culture, maybe it's because people that were in the company I don't know 5 years, 10 years, want new challenge, and maybe a lot of people is leaving the company at the same time because you hire in at the same time people that is moving for some kind of waves, no, people that is in a company for instance, 3, 5, 10 years is the typical moments in which people think about everything or think about changing something. Um, and red flags is something that I say that the turnover, absenteeism, people is not involved in the company things. That's as you know, team buildings or whatever. People that disconnected for the company is not. Yeah, it's a red flag for it's something going wrong.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any more time, but
No,
please, everyone, give a big round of applause for Pablo.
thank you. Thank you.